I think this opening is totally appropriate considering what I'm about to work on. I have a Sansui R7 receiver. It's seen better days. We're going to check this one out and see if there's anything we can do to get this patient off life support and make it work. Let's check it out. This is a Sansui R7 receiver. Volume with buttons up and down, but tuning is analog. I don't know what the scoop is on this one, whether it works or not. I got a few things in from a fella, and they have a bunch of different problems, but I think he said this one blew the fuse as soon as he turned it on. And this one here definitely doesn't appear to have any power. So first things first, let's pull it off and see what's wrong with it. If you remember, a few weeks ago I was having some hard drive trouble on my computer and put a new drive in, and well, it was disappearing too. Tracked the problem down to a smart program that monitors my hard drive. The smart drive detection software was flaky, and it was causing different drives to just disconnect for no reason. It would just, right in the middle of using it, and it would just disconnect the drive. It turned out to be software. So I've put my original drive back in because it's a Barracuda drive and it's a little bit faster than the Pipeline HD2 that I replaced it with. Got a cover that goes over top of the motor that turns the volume up and down. I think that's a volume up and down button. It's not digital, it's an analog, but it uses a little motor that turns the volume control up and down on one of these units. So let's see where the fuses are on this. And sure enough, the fuse is blown. The fuse is down here, and it is definitely blown. So we have to assume that there's probably output transistors that are shot. Good chance that that's what it is. So let's take the bottom off of it and see. I know that these three pieces that I got in for service, I'm not the first one to get into them. So we'll see what happens with them, whether they're repairable or not. This one's coming in with missing screws, as you can see. I think it's got some missing screws, maybe not. But there's the bottom of the unit. Our output transistors are right down here. First things first, let's check the output transistors and see if there's any dead shorts, because that will certainly blow the fuse if there's a shorted transistor. So we'll just check emitter to collector first, see if there's anything blown. That one's blown, and that one's blown, and that one's blown. So all four transistors appear to be cooked on this one. I don't know what other damage there is, but I guess we'll have to disconnect them and see whether the short is further up that's causing this. We'll have to pull the board out here and inspect this a little closer. And I believe this board will lift out. There might be another screw or two that holds it in place, but this entire amplifier board should lift out of this unit. I'm probably going to read in the comments now that this was made after Sansui turned to junk. As far as many of us in the service business were concerned, Sansui were always junk. That's why they got the nickname Sansuage. I just ruffled someone's feathers who thinks that they're a great unit. No, we never when I was in the business, we never gave much respect to Sansui because they had a lot of problems. Build quality was always considered kind of questionable. And then they built devices in such a way that made servicing them sometimes a little bit hard. Someone's tried to take this board out too. Look at the screws that are missing. Like the screw here that holds the board in on this side, and this one has already been removed. Like someone's tried to take this board out and didn't know how to do it. Got to cut a bunch of wire ties on here that are in place. That And now you can understand why so many shops condemned these units back in the 80s when they broke. Because the amount of work required to get at anything, to repair anything, was a fair bit of labor involved just to get to things so that you could work on them. If you start undoing connectors, then you can't test them and they're not numbered. So if you undo connectors, you got to really mark where they go, because if you look down here, we've got a connector with a red, white, and blue wire. We got a connector here with a red, white, and blue wire. When you open these up, they're just zero insertion force connectors. So when you open them up, the wires will come out, and if you don't remember where they go, you're going to have yourself a headache. So what we typically did was we put marks on the wires with a felt. We put like one mark on one, and then two on the next, and three on the next, etc. So that we'd know where they went when we put the unit back together. Because as you can see, they all use the same color of wires, and they're not plugs. Just a pain in the ass design. This board here, this one doesn't even unplug. This is wire wrapped and hardwired. I just want to see how far the damage is on this unit, how bad it is. I know the output transistors are blown now, but what else is blown besides the output transistors? More than likely this unit is not going to be worth fixing, because it's not a high-end amplifier, and it's really not worth a lot of money. I doubt very much whether the fellow that owns this is going to want to put the kind of money that's going to be required to replace the parts into something like this, because again, this is not a high-end unit. I would expect something like this to, maybe on the used market, maybe $50. If you're lucky. People will ask more than that, but in reality, something like this isn't even worth $50. I really get a kick out of people that, especially the people that sell stuff on Facebook or Craigslist and stuff, and they advertise, for sale for $1. They'll say $1, they'll say free, and then you look at the description and it says, please check the market value on eBay and make me an offer. Loser Bay, you mean? Because those are people having pipe dreams. You'll see things that are listed at ridiculous prices on eBay, and they sit there like week after week after week after week after week. Someone's like a fisherman sitting with his line in the water, hoping that a fish is going to bite. So people will put things up on eBay that they really don't want to sell, right? But they figure, okay, what the hell? You know, if someone's going to be stupid enough to pay me $2,000 for my Sansui 9090, for example, I'm using it as an example because I have one, and I've seen ads that have had them listed for that kind of money, and so people jump on the bandwagon and they list it. You know, I'll put $2,000 on there because I really don't want to sell it, but if somebody's going to come along and give me $2,000 for it, well, I'll take it. And that's what a lot of the stuff on eBay is people that have got stuff that they really don't want to get rid of, but if someone's going to offer them a lot more than it's worth, then they'll take it. Like a Sansui 9090, realistically, might be worth $500 if you're lucky. Sure as hell aren't worth no $2,000 that you see people asking, or even $1,500. But people will put them up there, and they will just hope that somebody's going to be dumb enough. And I know someone's going to comment and say, "Well, it's what the market will bear." Well, that's the problem. You know, there's always going to be somebody that's dumb enough to pay that kind of money, so, you know, so they can say, "Oh, look what I got! I paid this for it." And you know, they tell people that, and we're all thinking. You might not say to the person, you might not say you're an idiot, but we're all thinking that when someone says, "Oh, I paid this amount for this old stereo." Yeah, you're just shaking your head, thinking, "Oh, you idiot! I got one of those and I got it for free." You know, or I got one of those and I picked it up for $30 or $50. So realistically, this old stuff is not worth what people seem to think it's worth. And one of the reasons that it's not worth that, now that I'm on a rant on this, is because parts. You can't get a lot of these parts. Like, for example, this transistor, this is a dual transistor. It's got 5 leads on it. You can't get these parts, right? You could try to make one up using 2 transistors, which might work, but it's a good chance it's not going to have the same parameters or the same gain as something like this. I'm just looking at this board here. I see this one here has been hot. I should probably remove the board from the heatsink. And see, somebody's already tried to do this. They already took the screws out of the bottom. The screws are missing. Well, you can't just take the screws out and lift the board out because the transistors themselves are all screwed down. And because of the limitations of the wire length, it just makes these units just very difficult to try to do anything on. And they're not very well liked. And for a mediocre amplifier like this, these things really aren't worth fixing for what you could get for one. It looks like somebody's tried to remove these transistors before because they're not even screwed down. Maybe that's why they shorted. I just want to remove the transistors from or remove the board from the heat sink so that I can check some parts on here, and then we'll go from there. Whether I don't think this thing is worth fixing. With the 4 transistors that are blown on this thing, to get those transistors see that they're just not tight. They're not even finger tight, these things. To get these transistors, we're probably looking, if you could find them, maybe $15 to $20 each. And you got 4 of them, it looks like so far minimum, that are shot. So, you know, we're up to $60 to $80 worth of parts, plus the labor. It's just, oh, that one's actually tight. The other ones were all loose. This one here is actually torqued in. Remove that one too. Oh, that's loose. You know, like, take off that. That's what holds the thermal compensating transistors in place. It checks the heatsink temperature. Now the heat sink should lift away. Well, when I remove the other 2 screws on the top here. Alright, now I at least can access the back of the board here for testing. And we've got some burnage here. The board is a bit scorched there. The way that these transistors are bent like this, I'm curious as to whether they were actually touching the metal heatsink. see the leads here, right? They're supposed to be angled like that. It looks like somebody's replaced these at one time and they didn't put them in right. And these ones here were not even fastened down very well. So let's just check them and see. Yeah, we got a short there. That one's shorted. That one's shorted. That one's also shorted. As is this one. So all the transistors are shorted in circuit. I will disconnect them and take them out so we can measure them out of the circuit, just so to rule out anything in the circuit that's loading them down. But to the guy that doesn't think I clean my solder tip, I certainly do. I'll remove these and just check them out of circuit. I'll remove one of them anyway. I might remove more than one, but I'll take out one just to make sure that we're not reading something else. I'm sure that if this one's shot, the others will also be bad. Yeah, it's shorted. .07. It should be like a 0.7 volt drop, and we're shorted. So we got 4 outputs on this one that are shot. Probably the drivers are shot as well. Estimate to fix something like this, I'd say probably by the time you get labor and everything factored in there, you know, he's going to be a couple $100. Definitely not worth spending that kind of money on it. What else is shot on this? Are these other transistors shot? That one's not shot. I'm surprised. The board's all black though, but that driver, that one's okay. What about this one here? Yeah, that was also shot. You guys heard a beep there, but that's not a good beep. 0.05, it should be like a 0.7 volt drop. And that one's shot. That driver's shot. So we got output transistors and we got drivers on this one that are shot. So I'm going to stop at this point because this is certainly not worth spending any money on for a unit like this. Because I say, these receivers, they're a dime a dozen. You can pick these up in secondhand stores. I see them all the time for $30 or $40 in the secondhand stores. Again, don't believe eBay prices, because eBay is just for idiots. Anybody that buys anything on eBay deserves what they get, let's just say, because, you know, it's a place where you just can pay way too much for what things are worth. And I think a lot of people that are on eBay are not very educated as far as what used equipment is worth. So they get taken advantage of, people that know what it's worth, but they also understand that there's a lot of people that don't have a clue what this stuff is worth, and they get taken advantage of very easy by some of the prices on eBay. So it's a place that I don't ever buy anything, and I don't sell anything on eBay either, because, as I say, it's just full of sharks and people that are looking to make money on stuff that they pick up. Same with Facebook Marketplace. You know, I look on Facebook Marketplace and I'll see the odd deal, and then I see a lot of people that they've got dollar signs in their eyes because they go on eBay and they look things up and see what people are asking for stuff, and it doesn't work that way. I love some of the transactions that will show up as completed on eBay. And I have a little bit of inside information of how that works, because I know somebody who does this. But he will advertise stuff on eBay and basically sell it to himself so that the sale can be completed as a transaction. But there is no transaction because the seller and the buyer have different usernames, different accounts, and they use VPNs and so forth so that their location looks different. They do this so that they can get some feedback, and then they put stuff up for sale and get people to look at their feedback. I know a guy that's been doing it for years, and he makes a lot of money doing it, and he showed me the way that he does it, and he hasn't got caught yet. It's totally illegal what he does, but he hasn't got stopped yet. I'm sure at some point they might catch on. They call it shill bidding, but he does it and gets the completed transaction. And Amazon does the same thing, right? People on Amazon do the same thing. You'll get companies that give people product to get the reviews on Amazon, and what they do is, it's one thing to send somebody a product. Like, I get stuff sent to me that I will do a video review on, but I can't give a Amazon review because I didn't buy it, and Amazon doesn't permit you to give a review on promotional products such as flashlights and stuff that I have received as promo. I can't put an Amazon review on that. So what companies are now starting to do is they will go to a reviewer and they'll say, hey, please buy our product and we'll reimburse you for the purchase price, so that it shows up as a sale so that you can give them a 5-star review. I don't fall for that. I don't buy anything and get reimbursed for anything, because that's just another way of basically misleading people. I don't go for that. So any companies that come to me and they say, we'd like you to buy our product and then we'll reimburse you, I ignore them. There's a lot of that goes on, and there's a lot of that goes on eBay too. I know about it because I know people that have done it, and I'm not saying that they're still doing it, but I know people that have certainly participated in that practice, where they create a sale and they buy it themselves and they basically pay themselves, and yeah, they have to pay eBay's fees because they got to pay the fees for the transaction. So they absorb those fees as a cost of doing business because they can give themselves a good review, and then they can put something else up at an outrageous price, and because people won't buy things if they see that someone has never sold something, right? Or they don't have a positive review. People won't buy them. So what they do is they sell to themselves or sell to a friend or someone that's working with them, pay the fees so that it looks legit, and then that gives them a good rating, and then they can go on there and start hosing people, which is what a lot of them do. And I'm sure I'm going to get thumbs down from people that do that because they don't like the fact that their shady business practices are being revealed. So the transistors on this one that are popped, 2 SC2579, there's 2 of those, and the other one was 2SA1104. They're SK branded. So 2SA1104 and 2SC2579 are the transistors. There's 4 of them, like 2 each, that are shot on this one, and the driver transistors here as well that are going to be required, probably both of them, because they're shorted. And I say this one here, I took this transistor out just to make sure I wasn't measuring the short of the output transistor wasn't giving me a false reading. So this one here is disconnected, and this one's still showing short. So this transistor is shot. So probably all 4 drivers are bad. I can test those before I throw this thing back together, just to verify that they're all bad, but I'm sure that they all are. Yep, that one's shot. That one actually doesn't look like that one's shot. That one actually looks like it might be okay. Look at this other driver down here. That one might be okay too. Oops. Let's see what I'm doing. Yeah, that one's okay. So these two drivers are okay, but these two drivers are shot. I'll remove that other output transistor just to verify that these ones here are shot. These ones might be okay, although they're measuring shorted, but it might be because of short on the other channel. So I'll just remove these other transistors here and just see whether they are shorted. Oh, I hate this design. I really hate this design. It's just the ugliest bloody design. I'm just going to remove two of the leads. There, now I can measure the other transistors and see whether they're still measuring as a short or the short has gone away. Yeah, they're still shorted. So all four outputs are shot and two drivers. See, this one's disconnected, so this one's not going to have any influence at all on these other transistors. And yet they are shorted. Alright, anyway. I'm going to throw this thing back together. I just noticed something. You know, I haven't even been paying attention, but I don't hear my neighbor's radio playing today. Usually I hear the radio in the background, but I guess they're not home, or they've shut it off, or something. But I usually can hear the music playing, and it usually gets picked up by the camera too. Anyway, enough about eBay. I don't use eBay. I don't sell anything on eBay. I don't buy anything on eBay. I used eBay about 20 years ago, and I got burned. And as they say, once bitten, twice shy. I don't normally talk about what happened, but I'll fill you guys in, sort of. So I sold something on eBay. One of my old broadcast cameras I sold on eBay. This is, I forget what year it was, 2000 and, I think it was 2004. Somewhere around there, 2003, 2004. It was a while back. When I upgraded my production facility to HDV, I sold off one of my old cameras that I wasn't going to be using any longer. And anyway, it sold for more than I thought I would get for it, because people got into a bidding war on it. And then when the sale finished, the buyer evaporated. The buyer never sent the money. So I got stuck paying the fees, and the buyer kept stringing me along. You know, I'm going to pay you. And what happened is it went past the, I think it was 30-day limit, something like that, 30 or 45-day limit for requesting a refund. So eBay wouldn't refund my fees. So I got clipped the listing and the closing fees. Didn't get clipped the PayPal fees because the person never paid for it. So I put it up, I listed it again, and it again sold, and it sold again for more than I thought I would get for it. But anyway, this person pays for it, and I ship it out, and I'm happy. I got more than I thought I would get for it. I didn't get a lot for it, but I got more than I thought I was going to ever get for the thing. And I thought it was a done deal. Everything was great. You know, it's sold, and I was happy. I got my money, and I guess about 40 days later, I get an email from the guy, and he wants to return it. He says it's not as described. It's not working properly. And I said, well, it was sold. It was a 10-year-old camera. It was sold as is, where is, no warranty, no exception, no returns, no nothing. It was sold as is, but was fully functional. And he started complaining that it wasn't working properly, and he wasn't happy, and he wanted his money back. And I said, okay, well, send it back to me. You pay the shipping. And he's like, no, I want you to pay the shipping. I said, well, that's not going to happen. Send it back and pay the shipping. Well, he never sent it back. He never paid the shipping. He never sent it back. And what he did is he went crying to eBay, and eBay gave him a refund. And I lost my camera, and I lost the money for it. And they basically said, well, that's the cost of doing business, and you have to accept that as part of our terms. To this day, I haven't used eBay for anything. I did leave one part of that story out, though, and that was the response that I got from the goons at eBay and PayPal. The story what they told me was that because I brought up, what about all this seller protection? I'm guaranteed, seller protection. And what the response I got blew me away. And that was that seller protection only applies to sellers that, or when a buyer pays for an item using their credit card. If a buyer, sorry, I got that wrong. It only applies to a buyer who has funded their PayPal account from their bank account or from funds that were in their PayPal account. So in other words, if someone's sitting $1,000 in their PayPal account, for example, and they funded that through either other PayPal transactions into the account or from their bank account, then you're covered. But if they use their credit card to fund the money into their PayPal account, and they go back and they make a claim against their credit card company, their credit card company will demand a refund from PayPal, and then PayPal then clips the seller, and the seller is not covered by seller protection. And that is what happened in my case. The fraudulent buyer made the purchase, and he funded it using his Amex or his Visa card or whatever he used to fund it, and then went back to his bank, and his bank ordered that PayPal had to refund. And of course, I lost out the money on the transaction because he had funded his purchase with his credit card, and in that case, seller protection does not apply. I learned that the hard way. I learned that one the hard way. It's I had sold things before on eBay prior to that, not big ticket stuff, but I did a lot of sales. I had produced a video, probably, it was back in the mid 90s, I guess. I did a video that I sold, and I sold hundreds upon hundreds of copies. It was a virtual aquarium that I did of just tropical fish, and a virtual fireplace. You know, the old fire log that the cable guys showed at Christmas time? Well, I did a DVD of a fireplace. My fireplace. I had a wood fireplace. And I sold, through my website and on eBay, I sold literally hundreds upon hundreds of copies of this virtual aquarium on DVD. It was two. It was a double. It was like the aquarium, and it was the loop of the fireplace that would just run over and over and over again with the crackling logs, and me poking the logs with a poker every few minutes. It's amazing. This is long before YouTube, right? But now you just go on YouTube and you can watch that all day long. But back in the day when DVDs first came out, I was burning discs and I was selling them, and I would ship out probably 20 discs a week, maybe more. I'd package them all up, and I would make a trip down to the post office in the States, because most of them are going to the States. Sold them for, I think it was $14.95, including shipping. And I sold hundreds of them. But one bad transaction left a bad taste in my mouth, and I haven't been back to eBay since, and I haven't sold anything since then. It was, and I say their response to that was that you have to deal with that as the cost of doing business. Somebody, I forget who, but someone at eBay that I was having a heated email discussion with compared it to someone who ran a retail store and had a shoplifter come in and steal something, and they said it was the cost of doing business, and that was all it was. You know, nothing personal. That's a cost of doing business. But sorry you lost hundreds of dollars. Actually, it was over $1,000. But sorry you lost money. But you know, there's nothing we can do. That's just too bad. So sad for you. Chalk it up as a cost of doing business, and be sure to come back and put some more stuff up for sale, and we'll help you get ripped off again. They said, oh, some people are hell-bent on committing fraud, and we're not responsible for that. We don't police it. We just provide you, you know, the same old bullshit. Anyway, that's my rant on eBay. If anybody wants to know, I don't normally talk about it because it brings back unpleasant memories of getting hosed by some crook. Anyway, back to this piece of shit. Look at this. This is, you know, you can tell it's real high quality when they just take another circuit board and jam it in and solder it down. That's real high quality. This was, say, Sansui, when they turned to crap. Not that I think that they were ever much better than this anyway, but their equipment was overrated. Even though I do own a Sansui 9090. It's okay. As I've said, it's not worth what people pay for it. But if someone wants to pay me a small fortune for it, I'm not dumb enough to not accept their money. Let's just say. Anyway, this is done. I've gone on too long about this one. This one's a piece of junk. It's not worth fixing. It doesn't even look that good. It's kind of beat up, dirty, and only thing this thing had that was a plus was the analog tuner. I think this was a joke. You know, it doesn't do anything. All it does is the buttons, they just turn on a small motor right here that's gear driven, and it turns up the volume control. That's all it does. I don't even think this thing has remote control. Pretty sure it doesn't even have remote control. It doesn't. It's just got volume up and down buttons. I mean, gimmick. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.